Hi, everybody. Sorry, I forgot I could just scroll with the mouse instead of trying to move the camera. Hi, happy Thursday. Boy, has it been a Thursday. I thought I'd shake things up a little bit. We've been mostly doing these lives in the morning at 11 a.m. Central, and I thought, oh, let's do some in the evening or towards the afternoon and see if we don't create a time space for other people to join us as well. So if you haven't joined us before, welcome. And if you've been watching this series, welcome back. So, we've been talking about resilience, and we've been talking about resilience through the lens of conditioning. Why sometimes we lose our resilience because we have experiences or we are conditioned that in such a way that it causes us to internalize the message that it's not okay for us to be who we are and how we are. So, we've been exploring where does some of that conditioning live, and we've been doing something kind of interesting. If you haven't picked up on this yet, in traditional human design we have a tendency to talk about conditioning as coming strictly from our open centers. Where we have white in the chart is where we take energy and information in and we amplify it, and because we amplify it we have a tendency to identify with it because we feel it really deeply, right? But there are other ways in which we experience conditioning. And those ways of being conditioned include internalizing the message that you've gotten from your own lived experience that somehow it's not okay for you to be who you are and how you are. Well, that's not true. It's totally okay for you to be who you are and how you are. And in fact, I will tell you, and you if you join me next week, I'll tell you in great detail how if you're not living true to who you are and how you are, it actually takes a great toll. It takes a great toll on your body. It takes a great toll sometimes on our money. It takes a great toll on your relationships. It takes a great toll on the fulfillment of your life purpose. It even takes a toll on your relationship with God, Spirit, Source, whatever you want to call it. Because when we can't stand in our right place, deeply connected to our true value, sometimes we don't even think we're worthy of having a relationship with Source. We don't think the universe has our back. So, really clearing up all those places where you've learned somehow through your lived experiences or through your experience of energy that you can't be who you are and how you are. We're undoing some of that. That's what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. We've been focusing primarily on the spleen center. It's not the only place where we're going to stay focused. I'm going to be shifting around to some other themes next week. But we've been talking about the role of fear, and I was noticing as I typed in the title for this particular session, I started to write fear in the gate 18. And I thought, wait, I'm not talking about fear. We're talking about courage in the gate 18. And it's so interesting how just shifting the word fear to courage changes the whole energy dynamic, even though you're still talking about the same thing, right? So, language is important. The words we use inform a lot of things, including our energy state. And when we're using high frequency, high quality language, we're actually calibrating our whole body into a state of heart coherence, aligning mind, body, and spirit, and causing us to be better prepared to attract and notice the things in our life that really match our true value and the true story of who we are. All of this is leading me to something that I want to share with you that I'm going to be doing next week that I'm super excited about. Next week on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Central and Thursday at 11 a.m. Central, and I'll post information below. I'm going to be teaching a brand new free teleclass about, it's a webinar, it's not a teleclass. We don't do teleclasses anymore. That's me dating myself. It's a webinar. We're going to be doing a webinar on deconditioning by design. How you can understand what's underneath the reason why you might think it's not okay for you to be who you are, or you might not even be clear or aware that you don't notice, right? That you're not being true to yourself. You do kind of notice, but oftentimes we learn to numb it out because we think, oh, there's no other option. You have options. You have options. And so next week, I'm going to unpack for you, how do you get conditioned? What is conditioning? How can you get deconditioned? I'm going to be answering really important questions like, does it really take 7 years? Okay, so we're going to be looking at how do you get underneath all those drivers, all those things that are causing you perhaps to take yourself farther away from your authentic self-expression, and how we can bring it back into alignment. So that free webinar again starts next Wednesday evening, or you can take it midday and Thursday. There's 2 sessions of the same webinar, so you don't have to come to both, just pick one. I'm going to have a whole bunch of content for you. I've got some great worksheets for you to fill out. It's going to be an experiential time that we're going to spend together, really exploring some things that are in your chart. And hopefully you're going to walk away with some new insights into what do you need to do to start living true to yourself so that you can conserve energy and increase your vitality and tap into higher states of wellness, have better relationships, change your relationship with money, really, really live your life purpose and more. So join me next week. I can't wait. All right, gate 18. I thought that this would be a good day to break the pattern of doing morning broadcasts because the gate 18 is all about patterns. And so let's break it down because this is a gate that sometimes can be really painful for people. And it's painful for people because we don't understand, first of all, the brilliance of it. And secondly, we don't always understand how it works. So we talked about both in the gate 32 and the gate 28, both of these gates point from the spleen center towards the root. The gate 18 is the third of those 3 gates that points from the spleen towards the root. I call those gates the FOMO gates, right? The fear of missing out gates, because oftentimes what happens is we think we don't have enough time and there's a certain sense of urgency around the energy themes or the archetypes of these 3 gates, and we pull the trigger too soon. We don't wait for the right timing for these gates to be activated at their highest potential, or the themes of these gates to get activated at their highest potentials. And here's the thing that's so interesting to learn, especially about the gate 18. These are energies that are called projected energies in the chart, meaning these are energies that don't have a lot of access to the throat naturally. They're way, way down at the bottom of the chart. And so anything that's at the bottom of the chart is what we call projected. It means it has to be called out. It has to be recognized or invited to be shared. Now, the gate 18, in its shadow expression, is oftentimes called criticism or judgment. Actually, it's part of a channel that in traditional human design we call the channel of judgment and criticism. Now, if you're not waiting for people to ask you for your intuitive insights that you have, and you have the gate 18 defined in your chart, sometimes it gets misinterpreted. And people start to believe, oh, wow, you're just really critical. Oh, you're just a really judgmental person. And they tune you out, right? Or they push back against you when you share with them your insights. But here's the piece we don't often understand, right? This energy is about correcting patterns. When you have this gate defined, you have a natural intuitive capacity to look at something and go, the pattern is not right here. Something's off. And if we just tweak the pattern this way, we actually can experience greater joy. Here's the irony of this gate 18. This judgment and criticism, as we call it in traditional design, reaches towards the gate 58 in the root, the gate of joy. And we actually get to experience higher states of joy when we correct patterns. Think of this in the context of book writing. You know, I own a publishing company. When we get ready to take a book and send it to the printer, we have people who edit it, first of all, and then we have people who proofread it. And then we have other people read it who've never seen it before because we need those extra eyes on it to make sure there's not any mistakes. If you're reading a book and there's a lot of typos in it and a lot of mistakes in it, and by the way, every book has at least one, no matter how many people read it, but if you have a book that has a lot of mistakes in it, it actually takes away from your joy of reading the book, right? We don't have the same kind of experience with the book. And in fact, we might not even finish reading the book if it has too many mistakes in it. On my team, I have some people in my team, Kristen in particular and Jamie too, who are like laser good at finding mistakes. So I write fast. I'm a manifesting generator. Sometimes I skip a lot of stuff in my writing. So fortunately, I have them to critique, if you will, or edit my work to make sure that it has at least a minimal amount of mistakes in it. So usually they don't miss much. So that that pattern breaking energy, that ability to see where do things need to be tweaked so that they can be better, more accurate, more aligned, more perfect, more joyful. That's the gift of the 18. It's part of logical circuit, and what logical circuit teaches us, particularly on that left side of the chart where it's going through this whole theme that's about mastery, the 58, 18, 48, 16, and we talked about the 48 last week. All of that, those two channels there are all about mastery, and we find that mastery amplifies, it gets expressed in a mature way when we practice and practice and practice, and we have a mentor or a teacher or a guide or somebody who tells us, no, that's not quite right. You need to fix this pattern, or you need to blow over here on this way on your reed when you're learning your clarinet, or you need to take this beautiful piece that you've written and you need to add this piece over here. Or, oh, I'm looking at your accounting. It's not quite right, right? We need people to have a different perspective than our own, and that's all of you with the Gate 18 defined, to help us figure out where are we missing the mark? Where are we not coming closer to the expression of our mastery because we're not seeing where the pattern's not working? It's the gift of the 18 to see where's the pattern not working. Where's the pattern not working? That's your strength. That's your superpower. The challenge is if you don't understand this energy, if you don't see that this is your gift, as painful as it can be sometimes, and that means, let me just give you a hint. If you have it defined, get into the habit of saying to people, I have some insights on this. Is it okay if I share it? And if they say no, don't share it because they're not ready to hear it yet. And they're going to take it personally and it's going to end badly. So if they're not ready, don't share it. And that's not on you. It's hard, but that's not on you. It means the person's not ready yet. The big challenge is to not turn it inward against yourself if you have the Gate 18, because the fear or the shadow of the 18, in addition to being perceived as being critical and judgmental, the fear or the shadow of the 18 is that if you work with this energy as part of your life theme, if you've got this colored in your chart, the shadow is when you turn it around against yourself, you're not going to do anything because you're going to be so afraid that you're not going to get it right. Your perfectionism, your need to not have any single mistakes in it will hold you back from sometimes even trying. And when you hold yourself back because you're so afraid that you're not going to get it right, you never give yourself the opportunity to actually experience the pattern, to be able to tweak the pattern, because there's no pattern because you didn't do it. So really important to understand that you have to have the courage to try when you have the Gate 18. Even if you don't think you're going to get it right, it's okay. Mastery comes from cycles of repetition and correction. And if you don't participate in the cycles on the front end, if you don't actually do it, you'll never be masterful. It'll all just be a theory. So the challenge, again, because this is a center that's all about timing, right? The spleen lets us know from that splenic signal when the timing is right. That splenic pulse for the Gate 18 says, try it. Try it. It's probably not going to be perfect, and it's okay. Do it anyway, because you'll know how to fix it. You'll know what needs to be tweaked. You'll know how you need to adjust your trajectory towards mastery once you do it. And if you don't do it, you'll never know what needs to be tweaked. You'll never know what the next right step is towards mastery because you won't let yourself have that experience, and you won't know what the pattern is. And I would lovingly and gently say, be sure if you have this undefined, and even if you have it defined, be open to the possibility that someone could critique your mastery and it's not personal. It's logical. This is a non-emotional circuit here. This logical circuit has no emotional solar plexus in it. It's not emotional. It's simply about correcting patterns. It's like Spock in Star Trek. Okay? It's just logic. And the benefit of having somebody who can really look at your work with fresh eyes and say, hey, have you thought about this? And what if you add that? And take this away? And oh, this isn't quite clear. The gift of having someone who can really see the heart of your work, the heart of the intention of your work and can give you the insights to help you tweak it and guide it and adjust the pattern so that you can create something that brings greater joy, who wouldn't do that? That's the best part, right? So we might all hate editing or corrections or the big red line through whatever it is that we write. It's not always the most pleasant experience, but it's a vital experience. It's important because you're really not here to express yourself in the way that you think you are. You are absolutely here to express yourself, but you're here to express yourself because you are a vehicle for something bigger than yourself. Not more valuable, but sometimes bigger than yourself. And if you're serving that bigger thing, whatever it might be, having the critique to make it even better is a gift. So let yourself have your patterns corrected. Don't take it personally. Just see it as part of the commitment to creating even more joy in the world. All right, that's it. We've made it all the way around the spleen in our conversation of fear and courage. Tomorrow, I want to do one last little piece of conversation around courage and resiliency. And I want to bring us back to the gate 26 and talk about courage and integrity and self-worth and how those three themes really play together through the lens of the chart and in the process of conditioning us. So we're going to talk about integrity, the gate 26, and self-worth and courage. And it'll be fun. We'll have a great, fun conversation, and I promise you're going to learn something. Again, sign up below if you like these. If you're liking this series and you're really learning a lot and you're feeling like, whoa, I'm getting some good insights about my chart, join me next week because you're going to get even more. All right, that's it. Have a great evening. I'll see you guys tomorrow.